Champions League predictions and reacting to what happened because this was a bold week. How are you feeling, Breton? All good?
I think I'm feeling better than Thomas Tuchel, so that's a start. That's a start, sir. I don't really know where you want to start. I mean, maybe we start right there.
Yes.
But hey, Champions League football is back, and that's all I care about, right?
Well,
so yeah, let's dive into it.
You said it. Bayern Munich is an awesome start because no one was expecting Lazio to beat Bayern Munich. Leverkusen, don't say no one was expecting because I surely was. The unbeaten streak lives on with Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen, but Bayern Munich shouldn't have lost to Lazio the way they did. And in the last two games, Bayern Munich have only one shot on target. No freedom is given by Tuchel to these players to express their football because look at how Jamal Musiala is playing. How can this player play without freedom? Watch him play. Tuchel, this is a prediction from the start of this video, and let us know if you agree or disagree, and like this video if you agree, because if this has a high like rate, I know you definitely agree. Thomas Tuchel will not be the Bayern Munich coach next season. Hansi Flick is a better option. I still think the Barca job, I think it might be happening. Xabi Alonso, if they let Xabi Alonso go to Liverpool, they are losing Bayern Munich because they, to this day, like I think they feel that bits of regret of not having Jurgen Klopp. So I think let's wait and see type thing. But you agree with me with Tuchel?
It might even be sooner. I couldn't agree more. I honestly couldn't agree more. If you look just at what we're talking about here, and I know there were extracurricular Nagelsmann activities that maybe the Bayern board or the Bayern brass did not exactly weren't exactly excited about. But after getting beat up by Bayer Leverkusen and then losing, right? Let me just put this to 10 losses already for Thomas Tuchel in charge of Bayern. Right? In 43 games. Nagelsmann lost 10 in over 80 games. Nagelsmann apparently had a much shorter leash than Thomas Tuchel did when it comes to this. Because Thomas Tuchel should already be fired if we're using the same rubric when they let go of Julian Nagelsmann. Now, it's the first time in 13 years that they've lost to an Italian club. Fine. That doesn't really mean anything. That's just great for Lazio.
It was Lazio's. It does because it's Lazio, Breton. It's not Juve or AC Milan. But
second win. Lazio's second UCL knockout stage win ever. And here's the thing. It is leg one. Okay? They're not going to have Upamecano because of the red card. Those that are racially abusing Upamecano can go back into the sewers where they came from. Please, just get that done. But when it comes down to it, it's just football. But this is different. This is unparalleled right now for Bayern Munich. And yet, I don't think there's enough vitriol. I don't think there's enough drama surrounding the fact that Tuchel just continues to lose. This isn't a re-rating. This isn't like a changing of the guard in a Bayern Munich squad. They have plenty of pieces to get this done. And Harry Kane, I mean, somebody's got to put out a welfare check on him because, I mean, what the heck is going on?
I think it's not Harry Kane's
when it comes
fault.
to this.
I think it's not Harry Kane's fault. I know. I think it's the tactics fault of Thomas Tuchel with Sane, Musiala, Thomas Müller not giving the freedom to these players. Pavlovic is playing very well because it's a rigid tactic. He has to follow the script that Tuchel wants. And with experienced players, the script is the timing in the moment a lot of the times. And this is why Thomas Tuchel should 100% be sacked for the way that they're playing with one shot on target. And because, where's Kimmich? I've never seen Kimmich playing bad football in the last, let's say, 5-7 years at Bayern Munich. Now, I 100% say he's in a bad form. Where is De Ligt? He's behind Eric Dyer? You mean to say you're starting Eric Dyer ahead of Matthias De Ligt in the Champions League? That is a shambolic decision, and we saw just that. A shambolic game by Bayern Munich. I do expect Bayern to go through in my predictions that I'm saying just now, but to go through, you got to start Kimmich, you start Müller. Müller is the best player of Bayern Munich in terms of understanding how to play like Bayern Munich. 500 wins in this club. History, one of the most underrated players in this century, and if they're gonna change the course of this bad form is with Thomas Müller with the right mentality leading the youth. With Harry Kane needing leadership too. He will improve with just that. If we have a stronger mental Harry Kane with the help of Thomas Müller, England or high contenders to win the Euros next season. But this is what needs to happen. Thomas Müller has to start and Kimmich too. But I like Pavlovic.
Yeah. And that's how bad it is, Alex. I mean, Thomas Müller was frazzled. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
I mean, in this post-game interview, I have not seen that man as frazzled as he was. Hell, I don't even remember seeing him that frazzled when, it is incredibly, it takes a lot to frazzle Thomas Müller. And I'm looking at it here and I'm saying, okay, well, they're only down 1-0, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to fight back. They've got depth. They've got but the framing here is very important. You're coming off of not just a loss, like a big loss to Bayer Leverkusen.
Exactly.
You're coming off of 5 points of a lead now for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga race. And then you show up and you put in a performance like this. No. And in the end, I mean, I get angry. I call him Tuchel. When I'm happy, I call him Tuchel. But when it comes down to it, he should be on the hot seat, no doubt. And if he wasn't... He is now.
I get you, and we're not used to. In 2024, we see Bayern Munich with not the best manager in Belgium. In 2024, we see Bayern Munich with not the best manager in the Bundesliga. That is Xabi Alonso. The best team right now is Bayer Leverkusen, and in the Champions League, we have Man City and Real Madrid that are much more contenders than Bayern Munich right now. This is a poor situation that this German giant is not used to being. So expect a big summer in the Bavarian area, okay, with Florian Wirtz. I think Florian Wirtz might be going to Bayern Munich for more than 100 million. He's the successor for Thomas Müller that is needed. The creativity on this midfielder, and he justifies the price tag. The future of Germany is Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz. Make it happen at club level. So, to convince Xabi Alonso, it would be easier too with a Wirtz there. But that's a whole other combo.
Just to play devil's advocate, could this be, and I'm thinking way too deep into this, could this be the proverbial changing of the guard? Could this be a situation where Bayer Leverkusen starts to take over? Now, I know the infrastructure at Bayern Munich, the business at Bayern Munich, will likely not let that happen long term. But my goodness, we're ready for it. I think everybody here is ready for it in the Bundesliga. We want to see new champions. We want to see new faces, new teams, take out Bayern at the top, even if probably not if you're a Bayern fan. But listen, it comes down for me to who do I want to watch week after week, Bayer Leverkusen or Bayern Munich? And the fact that they're on top is just a cherry on the top of the sundae because Bayer Leverkusen plays so much better football, aesthetically pleasing football. The type of person that sits down not a fan and leaves the stadium, leaves Bayer Arena a fan because they watch Xabi Alonso ball instead of Thomas Tuchel, if I'm angry at him, or Thomas Tuchel ball at Bayern Munich. So I think Bayern Munich will dig out of this. I think Bayern Munich will dig out of this. I think they're still a formidable team, but the fact this is the worst 4-day period in their entire season so far. So we'll see what happens. I
just think Xabi Alonso would never play Sacha Boey at left back. I think that's a fact, and especially when you have Rafael Guerreiro on the bench. So it's all about fundamentals. Yeah. It's all about where people are comfortable on the pitch. And Thomas Tuchel, he doesn't care about the comfort of these players right now. It's all about the comfort of his tactics. And that is fully on display. Dyer must be more comfortable than the leaked. But let us know if you agree or disagree with this statement of mine. And I'm not very hopeful for Bayern Munich, even though I think they're going to go through. I'm not hopeful in going to the semi or to the final of the Champions League playing just like this. Come on, Immobile and Sarri. Make the upset confirm. And Immobile, come on. He's not in the best form this season, but he's still got a goal in the knockout stages. The second time you said in Lazio history. He is a Lazio legend, a Rome legend.
Absolutely.
Love to see it. So, we talk about Bayern Munich. I think it makes sense to talk about Man City. Man City, What a win against Copenhagen. 3-1. They're going to go through. Nobody thought they wouldn't. But I think it's the way they're playing, the way they're doing things. To see Kevin De Bruyne back. Kevin De Bruyne is 6th right now in assists in Champions League history. 30 assists. And I won't be surprised if when he finishes his career, he's top in assists ever in the Champions League, okay? In my opinion, that can happen. And since he's come back from injury, 2 goals, 6 assists, okay, in his last 7 games. Unreal.
It's like he never left.
Exactly.
Like he never left.
Exactly. Ballon d'Or contender playing like this, Kevin De Bruyne.
He's wacko. But we also got to give some love to the star of the show on this particular game against Copenhagen. Well, you know what? First, I'm going to give some love to Copenhagen because they equalized it. They withstood things. Kamil Grabara, who I think will be going to the Bundesliga after this season. There are some shout-outs. Magnus Matsson scoring, I believe, in his debut. Give some love to them, but no. Phil Foden took over. I mean, there are 5 players right now leading the Champions League with 7 goal involvements each. And this is before the second half of this first round of 16 leg is over. But 4 of them, Alex, are Englishmen. You've got Jude Bellingham, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Bukayo Saka, and Phil Foden. Phil Foden is on pace for his best season yet. And if you were to ask people whether or not Phil Foden was like a bona fide, absolute must shoe-in starter for Manchester City, you'd probably get 50% say no and 50% say yes. It's unbelievable what Phil Foden does when he's given time on the pitch for Pep Guardiola. And there's a reason why this kid is, and I don't think there's no hyperbole here. There's a reason why Phil Foden is the only Manchester City Academy player that has won Pep Guardiola over completely in terms of trust.
Rico Lewis is getting there. He's getting there. But obviously
not
Phil
there
Foden,
yet.
for the amounts of years and the history he has at Man City, absolutely unreal. Phil Foden is the youngest Englishman ever to have 50 appearances in the UEFA Champions League. He's a legend in the making. 16 trophies already at the age of 23. Honestly, Phil Foden is one of the most talented players I've ever seen in my life. Seeing the Under-17 World Cup at the time, watching how dominant he was against the Spanish national team that had some interesting players, Abel Ruiz, Juan Miranda, Sergio Gomez, that they might not have been the best players in their generation, but at that time, Foden grabbed the game and made England win that tournament. With a Jadon Sancho too, even there. England, right now, for the Euro 2024, they got Saka, Kane, Foden, Declan Rice, and Jude Bellingham. 3 of these players are world-class already. Declan Rice, Kane, and Jude Bellingham. Foden and Saka are one step away of being considered world-class. In Euro 2024, that might be the case. That might be the case. If you were to pick between Foden and Saka, who would you pick, Breton? In terms of talent, I'm going to say Foden. And now with the experience that he's earned with Guardiola, being a part of one of the best teams ever in English history, I'm going to pick Foden.
Okay. Well, you framed it perfectly. You said in terms of talent. In terms of talent, I would agree with you. But in terms of the complete player, versatility, I would still say Bukayo Saka. I would say Bukayo Saka. And
it's a debate.
I don't even. It is a debate, but for me, it's not even 50-50 or 51-49. It's more like 75% in Saka's camp, 25% in Foden's camp. But that doesn't change the fact, Alex, that Phil Foden has over 250 appearances for Manchester City, one of the most successful sides of this generation. And he has 75 goals, 50-plus assists, and only out of that 253, only 164 starts. So you're talking about 126 goal involvements and 164 starts for as successful of a side as Manchester City. So
and Phil Foden this season, 15 goals, 10 assists in 38 games.
Yeah,
I fully believe this is going to be the best season of Phil Foden. And whose shoes did Phil Foden replace? David Silva, not Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne, that was his own shoes. He's the legend in the making. And for me, the best midfielder ever in Premier League history. In front of a Lampard, in front of a Gerrard, I put De Bruyne there. But Foden replaced David Silva, and he's now becoming one of the greatest players in England's history. If everything goes through as I expected will. Star boy Foden.
He's 23.
23.
He's just 23, right? Yeah. And also just one other statistic there, not to brush past, Manchester City as a whole, but Manchester City, I believe, just set the English record, or English club record, for most consecutive Champions League wins with 9.
Oof. And 652 days since their last loss in the Champions League. No doubt this is a world-class squad made by Pep Guardiola. The depth is absolutely unreal if you compare with other teams. And one of the other reasons that make Man City such a great team is Rodri. Rodri is unbeaten in 54 games. And in the Premier League, he's first in touches, he's first in passes, and he's first in final third passes too. He's instrumental in the build-up play of Man City, and no defensive midfielder is ahead of Rodri, in my opinion. But let me ask you, Breton, this could be a hard one. Could you order for me these 4 CDMs between Rodri, De Jong, Kimmich, and Declan Rice? Who would be in order from first to fourth between Declan Rice, Frankie De Jong, Joshua Kimmich, and Rodri?
Oh my gosh. Rodri.
First,
would be
Rodri.
First. First would be Rodri. And you said, I'm sorry, Frankie De Jong, Declan Rice, and
Kimmich.
Who was the other one?
Joshua Kimmich.
Oh, and Kimmich. Oh my gosh, Kimmich in this right now, this form, Kimmich at peak form, I would put 2. 3, I would put Declan Rice. 4, I'd put Frankie De Jong.
Completely agree with that list. Rodri first, Joshua Kimmich second, Declan Rice third, and fourth, Frankie De Jong. And don't tell me Kimmich doesn't have the quality, because if you know ball, you know what Joshua Kimmich is capable with the right manager. But Declan Rice, honestly, he's getting to that point that he's one of the best players in the world in terms of midfield. So, but let us know. Tell us your order. And Frankie De Jong, I don't think he'll be staying at Barca for next season. I think Barca's going to be selling him for the money. So we mentioned Man City. Yes. And last thing on Man City too. If there's no Erling Haaland next season, I don't believe that's going to be the case. But if there's no Erling Haaland in 2 years' time at Man City, look, they have Julian Alvarez that can play striker. They have Phil Foden behind with Jeremy Doku and Savio that can be played. Look at how they manage things, Man City. They're prepared for the present and future constantly, and Guardiola does it. Constant rebuild phase. That's why Man City are the best at what they do. But the best at what they do, I think that symbolizes Real Madrid. Don't you agree, Breton?
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, it wasn't the most comprehensive of wins for Real Madrid, but they have shown this season that they can get the job done. Vinny shows up, 9 goals, 4 assists in his last 10 Champions League games. But I think the star of this one against Leipzig has to be Andre Lunin.
Yes.
Andre Lunin.
And Brahim.
Beyond Brahim's goal, so for sure. But Andre Lunin, for me, was the absolute star of the show. And it's got to be said, the Ukrainians got 2 goalkeepers that I'm not sure who the heck plays
Trubin.
beyond this. Anatoly Trubin and Andre Lunin. But Lunin has done very, very well. Let's just say he's done a whole lot better than Inaki Peña did, filling in for Ter Stegen at Barcelona. But Vinny Jr., Brahim Diaz, Andre Lunin, Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid look like true contenders.
True contenders they are. Look, I know Man City have the best squad, but I'm going to say this. Real Madrid are my favorites towards winning the Champions League. If Eder Militao and Courtois come back in time, they're playing with 2 players that are not 2 center backs right now. And they are balling out with Nacho and Tchouaméni. Big respect to Tchouaméni. Starter for France and a legend in the making, a Galactico legend in the making. And I want to say this. I went to Madrid. That's why I'm repping Real Madrid. I went to Madrid and I witnessed the greatness that is being built by Florentino Perez. Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Fede Valverde. No joke. You feel it in the city. Madrid is a special city in terms of football. And I fully believe that Galacticos are being built 3.0 right now. It's going to happen. And why is Real Madrid going to have the new Galacticos next season? Because right now, The home of greatness in football is Santiago Bernabeu, the home of the Champions League, the home of the best players in the world. Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. are two of the top 5 players in the world. Vinicius Jr., you feel he grabs a game by the neck. That goal against Girona was him saying, I want to be the best in the world. And he can become one of the best in the world. Vinicius Jr. has now 50 Champions League appearances at the age of 23. 17 goals, 20 assists. This is the experience that you earn being a Real Madrid legend in the making, and Brazil needs him to develop like this. Rodrigo and Hendrik next season. Hendrik will cook too. So Hendrik, Mbappé, Rodrigo, it explodes my brain what's going to happen. But I have to mention Vinicius Jr. in this sense. And don't forget Vinicius Jr., 247 games in La Liga, 71 goals and 71 assists. 23 once again. Ridiculous.
Yeah, bonkers.
And consistency. More than 40 goal involvements to that last 2 seasons too. World class.
And a true testament to, obviously, when you spend the money, don't give up on a player just right away, right?
Exactly.
Vinicius Jr. was not the best of players his first 18 months at Real Madrid. It took him a while to get going. And he has repaid that faith in spades, in bucket loads, whatever you want to call it. Vinicius Jr. is now a bona fide Real Madrid star. And we know that.
No, and it's the way they develop the players. Like Valverde, when he arrived at Real Madrid, he wasn't a Galactico straight away. He cost $5 million. No. But you got to develop these types of players to become world class, to then convince the world class players to go to Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappé are convinced by the amounts of quality world class players that Real Madrid has in their 11. They have to believe we're going to win the Champions League with this team. And that's why Calafat and Florentino Perez are the best at what they do in their job. Unreal. And the fact that 250 million a year Real Madrid is going to earn with that stadium. They're going to earn from events like Taylor Swift going to Madrid, going to the Bernabeu, NFL going to Madrid, going to the Bernabeu. So in terms of commercial money, they're pioneers. And look, HP, they're getting mad money from HP, but HP is appearing everywhere in Madrid. So I do kind of understand too. It goes both ways because they're winning with good branding with Real Madrid. So yes, it's witnessing greatness.
And they're not throwing out 9-year, 10-year contracts to try and bring these players in. I mean, the brand speaks for itself. And I know Barcelona, from a commercial perspective, is doing all they can to try and keep up with Real Madrid. But at some point, you just got to let Real Madrid do what it does best and focus on yourself instead of trying to continue this rat race, right? Barcelona, Real Madrid, because Barca's got some internal stuff that they got to deal with before they can get back on what looks like a top of the peak commercial level that Real Madrid is currently at, right? And that emanates all the way down to the field and the players that play for this team. And keep in mind, they're doing it without a bona fide striker.
Exactly.
They're doing it without somebody, without a Benzema, who has not been replaced yet.
But the fact that Real Madrid are playing like this without a striker, with the players filling up the spaces, they're playing without a striker, but the spaces that they're filling playing-wise, Jude, Rodrigo, and Vinicius, they're understanding, and they're doing the movements of a striker. If you see the goals against Girona, Jude Bellingham, the movements were of a striker. It's unreal what Ancelotti's doing. And Ancelotti, another key name. And he deserves the extension and remaining at Real Madrid another season or two. Even though there's a Xabi Alonso, okay? But I think Real Madrid were smart not putting themselves in the drama of Xabi Alonso because Bayern Munich and Liverpool clearly need Xabi Alonso more than Real Madrid. And Ancelotti, he's doing a very good job. And my last note is, Jude Bellingham has not been at Real. Jude Bellingham didn't play for Real Madrid 5 games this season. Brahim Diaz scored in 4 of those games. So where there's no Jude Bellingham, Brahim Diaz, even the celebration. Look, I respect what he does because he knows he's got to replace the greatness that is being showed by Jude Bellingham. A Ballon d'Or contender right now. Do you agree with me, Bretson? I believe the Ballon d'Or 2024 contenders, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappé, Erling Haaland, and Kevin De Bruyne. These are the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I would say that Jude Bellingham is the favorite.
Harry Kane.
Favorite. at the moment.
But if Harry Kane leaves in the Champions League in a short term, I don't know. He'll be very out. So you think Jude Bellingham is the favorite to win the Ballon d'Or right now?
Right now, yeah. Right now, there's still plenty of race left when it comes to that. But yeah, I would have to say it. Just that what he's doing. I don't think people are, people are processing what he's doing. But
more and more,
how he has announced himself to La Liga, how he's announced himself to, one of the top all-time managers in Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, Jude Bellingham, you take him out of this equation, Carlo Ancelotti is taking that Brazil job.
Well said, Bretson.
No
that
doubt.
could be the case.
No doubt.
That could be the case.
So, does that make him deserve a Ballon d'Or? I think the Euros are going to basically be that telltale sign.
Saying this, it's if Jude Bellingham, if Real Madrid win the Champions League and England wins the Euros, and Jude Bellingham's not injured and he's absolutely vital, starting every single game, he wins the Ballon d'Or. And who disagrees with this? They don't know ball. Nor Mbappé can go ahead of him, nor Haaland can go ahead of him if that happens. So bold discussion. Well said. So we're mentioning Real Madrid. We do believe that Real Madrid is going to go through against RB Leipzig, right? Just getting a check on that, Bretson. Because Leipzig didn't start well. They didn't start bad. Sorry.
No, they didn't start bad. And Xavi Simons believes that they've still got it in them. And to be honest, I'm really liking what Benjamin Sesko is starting to show. It has taken him a while to get going at Leipzig, but Sesko is freakishly fast for such a big man. And once that Sesko gets going, he could. I don't know. We'll see. He could surprise. But True. Leipzig, they got to focus beyond this. They got to also focus on getting Champions League football for next season. So Real Madrid, tough task to get by them. But I think they asserted themselves well in that first leg. Very well, actually.
It's true. The fact that they didn't suffer a goal too, I was quite surprised. Right. I think Real Madrid are going to go through. And next game, PSG against Real Sociedad. I was also not very surprised, but I'm convinced now that PSG are dark horses towards winning the Champions League. It's going to be 100% the last season of Kylian Mbappé at PSG. I 100% think it's not going to happen. I think in 2022, Mbappé extends because of political reasons. I fully believe that Emmanuel Macron spoke directly to Mbappé. Okay, could be a conspiracy, but I do believe him staying at PSG was because of political reasons. And now, no more political reasons can make you stay towards chasing greatness. Mbappé needs to go to Real Madrid. He must chase the greatness of becoming a Ballon d'Or winner, consistent Ballon d'Or winner, because if Mbappé becomes the best player ever of France, is by being the key best player in the world a number of years. And he can be just that. Mbappé, for me, will have more Champions League goals when he finishes his career than Erling Haaland. And for that to happen, he needs to be at Real Madrid because the Man City machine with Haaland is not going to stop. Or the machine wherever he goes, okay? Mbappé has 44 goals. Haaland has 40. This is going to be a tremendous race to try and surpass Cristiano Ronaldo. But my bets are in Kylian Mbappé at Real Madrid.
Yeah, and to Kylian Mbappé just became, with the 44 goals, became the second youngest to score that many goals, right? Or the second most goals before the age of 25 in the Champions League, only behind Leo Messi over that time. And that actually sheds a little light on Cristiano Ronaldo and what he has done within the Champions League, because his name's not even in that top three before the age of 25.
Yep.
Because the man just kept going, right?
Exactly.
And obviously was like turbo scoring goals amidst that, what was it, 5 Champions Leagues that he won?
He won
four that he won.
3 in a row. He won 4 at Real Madrid, 3 in a row with Zidane. Right. No Champions League. That was the first time ever in Champions League history that a team won back-to-back with Real Madrid. Ronaldo said, no, I'm going to make a three-peat with this team. Big respect towards Zidane. That team. And back-to-back, same team in finals. They had the same lineup in a final. That is mad.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mad. That probably hasn't been done again since.
No.
But back to PSG, right? Kylian Mbappé, 25 years old. There's a cap. There is a cap here, okay? He's already got 31 goals, 7 assists this season in 30 games. But the only way, even if he continues down this path, again, the only way that he's winning this thing is not because PSG wins an umpteenth time Ligue 1. It's because he wins the Champions League.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, I don't see it just yet because it is Kylian Mbappé. That's it. It's Kylian Mbappé, right? He is their only consistent goal threat right now. If he has one off game, which tends to happen amidst the knockout stages in the Champions League, some of the most rough and tumble, football that needs to be played, home and away, absolutely top of the table type of competition you're going up against. If PSG can't pick things up beyond him, and it's just Kylian Mbappe, it's not happening. Barcelona didn't win what they won with just Leo Messi. Real Madrid didn't win what they won just because of Cristiano Ronaldo. It's because of the teams around him. PSG, I am not convinced that they have that team. With that said, Alex, they have not lost since November, early November. And Mbappe is in the form of his PSG career. He's got a goal involvement every 68 minutes. But beyond that, who are we talking about? Who are we talking about? Now, I know you like someone on defense, and you're going to tell me in a second, but even guys like Warren Zaire-Emery.
I like him too.
Great shuttler. He's having a great game. He's 17 years old. Great year. He's
Barcola
17 years old, but
scored his first goal in the Champions League.
Yeah, but can you see Bradley Barcola scoring a, Champions League final goal?
I saw Havertz. Look, if I saw Havertz,
wrong.
Look, Barcola, I think will be a French national team winger. I rate Barcola. Yeah. I rate Warren Zaire-Emery. I rate Ugarte. I agree with you. I still don't rate them towards being world-class players, but I do think they have world-class potential. And one thing is for sure, Luis Enrique is a world-class manager. He might not be at his best at PSG. Look, that Barca team was absolutely ridiculous, but he can make exactly. But he can make something happen. What he has, okay. And again, this will be the final year of Kylian Mbappé at PSG. Yeah. Kylian Mbappé will leave PSG as the greatest player in the club history, and he wants to become the greatest Frenchman ever in France history. He's the captain already at 25. He's went to a World Cup final in the last World Cup. He's won a World Cup previously. So that's what he's chasing. And Kylian Mbappé right now, in terms of goals in the Champions League, he's ahead of Neymar. He's ahead of Del Piero. He's ahead of a Kun Agüero. And he's ahead of a Erling Haaland with 40 goals. And the same amounts of goals as Salah and Drogba. Drogba, a man who was an absolute legend towards Chelsea winning a Champions League. All this at the age of 25. Mbappe is greatness in full display. If he wins it for PSG, Breton, again, it's a drop-a-mic situation. I fully... No player in the world can defend Kylian Mbappe one-on-one when he's full in form. He's one of the most intelligent players I've ever seen at the age of 25. The most experienced I've seen at the age of 25 too. Like at Monaco, he was tearing up defenses. Now at PSG, now at a French national team starter, being that guy, he's a monster. He's a monster, and he's still learning.
70. That's the thing. Is 44 goals doesn't even do it justice. It's the 26 assists on top of that that just gets me. Yeah, obviously. I mean, he's 70 goal involvements in 68 Champions League games. He shows no signs of stepping it up. For those people that say he pads his stats because he's in Ligue 1, okay. I mean, you have an argument. You do have an argument. I get that. But the fact that he then follows it up with the 70 goal involvements in 68 Champions League games, the fact that he is the second fastest or the second most goals before the age of 25 in the Champions Leagues tells you that this kid is not slowing down and that it's only going to get more insane if he levels up the team around him. And I don't mean that, badly versus PSG, but there is a clear quality difference between Real Madrid and PSG man for man at this moment in time, which is why it's Real Madrid or City again this season.
And I can tell you, Kylian Mbappé is a very intelligent. Kylian Mbappé is a very intelligent. Kylian Mbappé is a very intelligent individual on and off the pitch. On the pitch for France, to become a captain of the French national team at 25, you got to be ridiculously intelligent. And to say to the president of PSG, Luis Campos is the man to make the decisions in terms of transfers, because I saw it at Monaco, is another intelligent display in my view. Luis Campos at PSG is key towards this youth core that is going to be there next season with Xavi Simons. You got a Barcola, you got a Nuno Mendes, you got a Warren Zaire-Emery, Ugarte, Beraldo, Gabriel Moscardo, a Gonçalo Ramos that's still right there. Young players that are want to make the difference, all built by the guidance of Kylian Mbappé with Luis Campos. I respect a lot what he's done for PSG. He's going to leave as a legend. And that's why I believe PSG are going to beat Real Sociedad 2 away. It's going to be a tough game even away. Real Sociedad, you should have scored a goal in Parc des Príncipes. And if that didn't happen, I don't believe they're going to go through. Do you agree, Bretson?
No. And they've got some injury issues. They've got some of their key players coming back to fitness. I mean, Mikel Merino, we haven't seen him at his best. There's too many question marks for Real Sociedad. As much as I like what they've done, and as tough as it might be at the Oneonta, I don't see it happening. I think PSG will win this. But
so the teams that won, we all believe. Man City won. We believe they're going to go through. Lazio, Bayern, we still believe in Bayern. Real Madrid, we believe in Real. And PSG, we believe that PSG are going to go through with Real Sociedad. Interesting, though, Breton. So in the next week's fixtures, how are you feeling with a PSV Dortmund?
Oh, PSV Dortmund, I love it. I absolutely love it. First off, Dortmund's got Seb Haller coming back on a high. Hopefully he gets some time. They've got Daniel Malen returning to Eindhoven, or returning to PSV, to where his career essentially took off, coming from Arsenal's academy. A lot of people forget that he was Hale End for a while. But Daniel Malen is actually hot for PSV. And if he wasn't, I'd say, or for PSV, for Dortmund. And if he wasn't, I'd say they're going to come up against a red hot still PSV Eindhoven. So I'm really not knowing what to do here. The statistics tell me Eindhoven has what it takes, but Dortmund has been extra scrappy this season. And I don't know. They've won 4 of their 5 Bundesliga matches to start the season. So it's here. Just... And Maatsen breaks Victor Boniface's Rookie of the Month stronghold on it, although I think there was somebody in between Boniface and Ian Maatsen. So I really think that PSV is still going to be victorious in the end, but my goodness, I think it's a coin flip.
You go with PSV to go through against Dortmund?
I'm going with PSV because I think that they are built different this season. I think that they are much stronger, obviously, than the Eredivisie is letting on, and I think they have, as long as Joey Veerman's in that midfield, long as Joey Veerman is in that midfield, they'll get it done.
I'm going to go with Dortmund. They went through the group of death with PSG, AC Milan, and Newcastle. I think they're going to go through PSV. Peter Bosz, he's not unbeaten in wins as he was a couple of weeks ago. And I like Ian Maatsen here. I like Jadon Sancho. I think Bino Jitsens is a player that's growing just like Daniel Malen. I think they're a more organized team right now than they were in the past. So I think Dortmund will be going through against PSV. Sorry, Dutch fans.
Fair. Sorry, Dutch fans. But hey, Luke de Jong, Joey Veerman, Johan Bakayoko. I mean, that center back pairing, this is one of the best Eredivisie teams in a very, very long, probably since Ajax. Right? Definitely.
You don't rate Feyenoord.
Definitely since Ajax.
You don't rate the Feyenoord that goes to Champions, not a Conference League final.
I definitely rate them. I just don't rate them as high as this. This is different. This is other level right now. And to be honest, there's also a depth behind them. And I know, we can talk about Luke de Jong, but we could also talk about Ricardo Pepi, another goal, right? 21 years old. The only reason he's not on the field is because Luke de Jong is having the absolute renaissance type of a year that people wanted to see him have with Sevilla. But he's got 9 goal involvements in just 500 minutes of game time. I think it's going to come down to depth. I do. I think Dortmund versus PSV is going to come down to depth, and I am going to make an incredibly American biased type of opinion here. I think it's going to be one of the Americans that winds up being a big difference in a key second leg. It's either Malik Tillman or Ricardo Pepi for me. Serginho Dest, we'll see what he does, but I think it's Ricardo Pepi or Malik Tillman that winds up having the deciding goal versus Borussia Dortmund.
Just because Reina's not there anymore, Breton. Come on, you're being a bit
Oh,
harsh.
I know. Oh my gosh.
But going against what you said, Feyenoord have Santiago Gimenez and Igor Paixão. I prefer that to Luke De Jong and Ricardo Pepi. Just wanted to say that.
I don't know. Jimenez these days he's been more the allure is wearing off for me. We'll see.
But I don't believe Jimenez is a 100 million striker, but I fully expect 60 to 50 million maybe.
Well,
let's see.
I don't mean to jump to the Europa League because we're talking about Feyenoord, but Feyenoord they got Daniel De Rossi's AS Roma, who are coming in hot on this thing.
That's a very hard fixture. That's a very hard fixture.
That's going to be a very hard one for them. So we'll see.
It's true. Let's see what happens. But very hard too in the Champions League is Inter Atletico de Madrid. Who do you think's going to go through, Breton?
I mean, I still have to pick Inter in this one. They're just tidy, man. I mean, they're already making transfers that just make way more sense than anyone else. I think they're thinking multiple steps ahead of a lot of the teams out there. They just brought in they'll be bringing in this summer Zielinski and Mehdi Taremi, who I'm kind of angry didn't move previous to this, but whatever. But yeah, no, Inter just looks good. They've just taken a big step forward in the Scudetto race after Juve slipped up over the weekend. I mean, they are, all signs point to them being a contender, not just in the Scudetto, but also in the Champions League as well. It's almost a shame for them that they have Atletico, because Atletico ain't so bad themselves. Antoine Griezmann, all-time leading scorer for them. I don't know what to pick. New boy Arthur Vermeeren, but I'm still going Inter Milan on this one.
I think Inter Milan are the biggest dark horse, especially considering that they're the team that won. No, Inter are definitely a dark horse, especially considering that the team that went to the Champions League final last season, a lot of players stayed. Barella, Bastoni, Di Marco, Lautaro, key players did stay. But Atletico, El Cholo, Antoine Griezmann, Arthur Vermeeren here. I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that Atletico de Madrid are going to beat Inter de Milan. I'm having the growing feeling. Maybe it's because I went to Madrid. I'm going to blame it on going to Madrid, okay? It made me an Atletico and a Real Madrid fan. I can't be both, but
it's in your blood.
But what I got to say, it's Antoine Griezmann is a legend of Atletico, okay?
Yeah,
going to Madrid, you feel the respect that he's earned, being the top goal scorer ever. Thank you, Depay, for giving this man a ring, showing that he did such a big achievement. But
they got married. I didn't know that.
But it's just the way that Atletico is starting to feel. I like the Arturo Vermeeren transfer. I like Riquelme. I love Pablo Barrios. A lot of people in Madrid told me about Pablo Barrios being, for them, the most exciting young prospect of Atletico de Madrid. I'm not going to go against what they said. And even a Samuel Lino that can be seen as an underrated player. He's very good, okay? They were rating him high. So I think Atletico could surprise. I'm going to be betting on Atletico, but Inter Milan, if they go through against Atletico, it shows. I really think it's a 50-50 matchup between Atletico and Inter Milan. But the best team in form and more informed, no doubt, is Milan. But the ball is round. Anything can happen. If it was a cube, Milan would win.
Well, I think the goalkeeper, Jan Sommer's been very good in Champions League for them, for Inter, and I think that's going to continue. I mean, goals prevented, he's been up there, kind of sneakishly. That's not even a word. That is totally not a word. I just made that up. No. But I really do believe, Inter Milan's defense is the key here. I think Atleti's defense is their problem right now. And that will be interesting. And whether or not Morata decides to have a a harkening back to the beginning of this season, because he's since cooled off, but whether or not he comes in and plays a key role, that's going to be what it's at, because Griezmann can't do it all. But I am with you on that Pablo Barrios hype. I've liked him. I've mentioned him multiple times in past podcasts, but Arthur Vermeeren and Pablo Barrios, and I know there's a lot of really interesting young midfields, right? And Riquelme, yep. But I know that those two for me are right up there in terms of midfield partnerships to watch in La Liga for many, many, many years to come. Pablo Barrios in tight spaces is a compilation that I can watch over and over and over again. For sure.
For sure. What a player to watch. Okay, people, you've been warned here at FC Wonderkid. And now, last two fixtures. Porto against Arsenal. What are you feeling here, Breton?
Welcome back, Arsenal, I suppose, right? That Declan Rice goal against West Ham, the respect he showed after that. Bukayo Saka is feeling it. Heck, everybody was getting in on it versus West Ham. That's exactly the type of performance they need heading into this. Meanwhile, Porto has kind of hit a snag in the road, right, the other day, if I'm not mistaken.
Shout out to Aroca.
Yeah. So, for me, it's Arsenal. I don't think there's even much of a fight here. It's just whether or not Porto can shock them at the Estadio de Dragão. And beyond that, I think Arsenal's got them at the Emirates, and I think they've got them dead to rights.
I think Arsenal are one of the best home teams in the world playing right now. Playing in the Emirates is a tough ground. That's why Liverpool lost. I know it was no Mo Salah, but Liverpool still lost 3-1. I think it'll be very hard for Porto to get it through. If Diogo Costa goes extremely bold against Arsenal in those two fixtures, that guarantees him going to the Premier League next season. And it guarantees maybe Porto surprising the world. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Arsenal will be going through. I think Porto are not as strong as they've been in the past. But I do think that this season, they've been in poor form, okay? They've changed the tactics. They lost to Aroca. Aroca is not a bad team in the Portuguese league. I think they're 7th. They've got a 39-year-old coach, Daniel Souza, and they scout very well in the Spanish league. Cristo Gonzalez, Jason, Rafa Murica that play for the under-19s of Spain. This Aroca team is a scouting genius in terms of the Spanish market, okay? Please pay attention towards that. But going back to Porto, if Porto are going to beat Arsenal, it's by Evan Nilsson, Pepe, Diogo Costa, all having tremendously good matches. And their veteran centre-back, Pep. Pep can have a hand, and with more than 40 years of age. And Alain Varela is a CDM that you must pay attention in this game. Again, I think Arsenal are going to be going through. I think players like Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Saliba, Declan Rice, their legacy is in the making in the Champions League. And Saka needs to beat teams like Porto, PSG, Man City in the Champions League, Real Madrid in the Champions League with Arsenal to start being considered a world-class player in the world's view. The best English player. That's what he wants to be. Ahead of a Harry Kane and ahead of a Jude Bellingham. It's now in the Champions League. And it's a good start against Porto. So I think Arsenal are going to go through. But Porto, you never know.
They got punched, Arsenal got punched in the face with that. I think it all culminated in that FA Cup loss to Liverpool.
To West Ham.
But since losing 3 in a row, I believe it was, they have come back and won 4, right? 4 in a row, putting 6 past West Ham, putting 5 past Crystal Palace, beating Liverpool in the Premier League. Beating, I think it was Nottingham Forest away they beat. So, Arsenal has come back from that punch in the mouth that might have actually cost them the Premier League or any chance at the Premier League this season. But this Champions League is still, they get hot. They get hot at the right time. And you got a couple guys that like you are saying, are poised to make that step up, right? That step into world-class stardom, consistently Champions League stardom, right? There are guys in this Arsenal lineup that are more than poised to do that and are ready to do that and are chomping at the bit to do that. And this is it. This is the time. So first they got to get by Porto. I don't think that Porto's as deceiving of a opponent as some of the others in this round of 16. But they've certainly provided shocks previously. They've certainly got pedigree behind them. And they have the ability, if you come in and you play subpar at the Dragão, they will punish you.
Porto Arsenal knocked out Juve with Ronaldo. in the past, Champions League, okay, with Sergio Conceição. It was not with another manager. So that can happen. So it's going to be an interesting test for Mikel Arteta with Arsenal. Last fixture, it's with a team that has confirmed that their manager will not be the same next season. It's Napoli against Barcelona. How are you feeling with this, Breton?
Well, I got to ask you how you're feeling now that you're so full. You got the Madrid blood coursing through you. How are you feeling with your Barcelona? I think you need to go to Barcelona next, sir. You got to balance things out with the Spanish football here. Barca.
Look, I think they're.
I mean, they're riding a 16-year-old.
Exactly.
And for me, that's not going to end well. It's certainly not going to take you to the final. But I really don't know what to say here, except that Napoli ain't that much better right now.
True.
So I think Barcelona will get by them. And I think while I can sit here and wax poetic about Lamine Yamal, I almost don't want to because the kid is 16 years old. He's got another record or multiple records to his name. He's the youngest player to score a brace in La Liga history, and he's the youngest to reach 10 goal involvements in a La Liga season. This kid is 16 years old, and I almost don't want to talk about him because I want to preserve that innocence. I don't want him to fizzle out at any point. Based on his talent, he's not going to. But Barcelona are just getting so much more out of their youth players than they are out of the people that they spend beaucoup bucks on. That just needs to be said.
And I think Xavi has a hand in that. Xavi has a hand with the legacy of La Masia growing right now. It's Gavi, it's Alejandro Balde, and it's Lamine Yamal. When he leaves Barca, he leaves with these three players as starter. I think Pau Cubarsí, Hector Fort will be also two players that next season already are going to have a hand in the Barca first team. But Lamine Yamal had his debut with Xavi at the age of 15. Right now, he's an undisputed Spanish national team starter at 16, and he is an undisputed starter in the right wing of Barca. And right now in World of Football, he's one of the most exciting dribblers to watch. And in terms of efficiency, he's one of the best ones. So if Barca are going to shock the world, and even Barca themselves, because Xavi, he says he expects Champions League football win, but I don't know if he expects that, honestly. Because if he himself is leaving Barca, it's because he thinks he's not the man to make that happen. But mentally, for these young players, it could be something that we don't know, a curveball. Because imagine the responsibility that Lamine Yamal must feel towards Xavi's sacking. At 16, he feels like, this man is trusting me. I am not delivering on the pitch. He's going to be here until the end of the season. I must do something because Gavi's not going to do it. He's injured. Lamine Yamal has that in his eyes. He has the intent to do something with what Xavi decided. I think that's the mental games that are happening. Let us know if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. I fully expect Barca to go through with Napoli, with Vitor Roque, with Ronald Araújo, with Alejandro Balde. He doesn't come back from injury. But with the youth having a key factor against Napoli. Barca will be going through.
Yeah, on paper, Napoli is just it's in trouble. Victor Osimhen, I think, has already got one foot out the door.
Yep.
And you've got Peter Zielinski essentially already signing a pre-contract to join Inter Milan.
Eli Feldman, Leipzig.
Yeah, that defensive structure that was once there, it's just not there anymore.
True.
So Kvaratskhelia is kind of the only X factor in this scenario for me, and whether or not he can run ragged on a Barcelona defense that has been but aside from a goal here or there this season, Kvaratskhelia has been found out, in my opinion. And it really comes down to prep here. And Lamine Yamal right now, in my opinion, is a scarier person to face as a defender than Kvaratskhelia is. So I am going to say that Barcelona will go through on this. But if for some reason they show up as the same Barcelona that conceded 9 goals in 2 games, then I might be eating crow because I guarantee you, if it's 3 goals conceded to Napoli, it's Kvaratskhelia scoring at least 2 of them.
And Osimhen maybe having a goal or 2. Oh, it'll be definitely a hard one. And I just want to say, last note on Barca. In order for Barca to be the greatest club in football right now, against the Real Madrid and the Man City, they got to know how to sell their La Masia players. Man City sell a Cole Palmer, sell a James Trafford, and a Carlos Borges for more than 70 million. Don't tell me that La Masia doesn't have the talent to sell on players like this. Look at Pau Cubarsí, look at Hector Fort, look at Pau Prim, Marc Gui, look at Fermin Lopez. You cannot stay with all these players. You got Gavi and Pedri, but you got to make decisions that are efficient. And Deku, sporting director, that's where the attention is going to be. Look, if he doesn't do it, Deku, they must get another person to do these deals, these transfer deals, selling the players at the right price, because that's how they're going to get financial stability, Barca, by selling their players of La Masia at the right price.
Yeah, and when they're at the top of their market value. Exactly. Like there was a point in time where you could have sold Abde for quite a bit of money because there was a little bit of fervor around him. Nico in Porto's midfield. There's quite a few of these guys that have had periods of time where you're like, oh my goodness, they could be a part of Barca for years to come.
Abel Ruiz could play for Barca right now. Abel Ruiz could be the second striker of Barca. He could be, and he's at Braga. But ridiculous.
And that academy at Manchester City has turned into the cash cow, has turned into the supplemental income that is needed. And you're 100% right that La Masia generates enough. But think of all the players that have gone through these clubs. Like it
could generate
Kubo. Should generate enough.
Yeah.
Should generate enough. Not has generated enough.
Or Fati.
I mean, all the names that have gone through, right? Ansu Fati, don't want to let go of him, so he's on loan. Yeah. And now he is still fighting his way back when they could have sold him when they didn't know where he was going to fit moving forward. After the first injury, right? So you're 100% correct. But this is a whole nother topic, right, that we could get into. But it's a mental thing.
It's a dream of mine.
I don't want to sell your crown jewels.
Being in those cities, it's a dream of mine to be a sporting director of Real Madrid or Barcelona. Look, if Deku's there, he was an agent previously. If I go the scouting routes, they need someone making those decisions. And Omar Berrada, that Man United now have. Genius move, in my opinion. And they're getting, I think, did you see the news of Edwards going to Man United? That would be a key move in terms of talent identification. If these people go to Man United, this is a changed club. And Barca needs the type of people to make these rigid decisions. Saying, Fati, 30 million, it's done. Pau Prim, 10 million, okay. Ferran Jutkla went to Club Brugge for what? 7 million. Yeah. Be tougher. 20 million, because he's got that quality. So I don't want to go on a tangent on that, but I just want to point that I think they have the talent to make more money off La Masia and towards having a better first team. So the only player, Fermin Lopez, would have been the only player I stayed with, and Hector Fort for the future. But let us know down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? They spent 60 million on a Rafinha when they know a Lamine Yamal's coming in 2-3 years' time. I know you need a strong bench, but you need strong decision-making for the future when you don't have a CDM. How can Barca not have this? How can Barca not have a CDM when Busquets was the unsung hero of a Xavi and Iniesta? You have the Pedri, you have the Gavi, but where's the CDM? And you spend on a Rafinha, you spend on a Ferran Torres more than 100 million. That is poor management and poor planning. And that's not something you see at Real Madrid. So
that's not planning.
Exactly.
That's not planning. There's just none. It's living in the moment and just spending at will. But yeah, and you know what we need? We need a little Real Madrid to Barcelona type of drama. Come on, give me a Luis Figo switch. I want something like that to kind of stoke the fires here.
No,
I'm with you. But you can't. There is not a moment or even space in my mind for me to ever see a headline or believe or predict a headline would come across the screen that says Barcelona sells Pedri for 175 million euros.
Mm-hmm. Because Barca
never gonna happen.
Don't have that strategy. I'm not saying they should do that, but I do think they should be selling 3 to 4 players each season for 10 million each. because La Masia produces that type of quality. If you watch Youth League, you see Barca. They did lose to Porto 4-0. But you do see Pau Cubarsí there. You do see Marguerite there. And you do see that the Spanish under-17 team is almost all of Barca still. So the La Masia is doing the right job. But what's not happening the right way is the way that they're being let go. If you see the 4 most valuable players by Transfer Market's view in the Champions League is Jude Bellingham, Haaland, Mbappé, and Saka. And in the past, you would see 2 players of Barca in this list with Neymar and Messi. Or Suarez, okay, obviously. Now, Barca doesn't have those types of players. Now, Barca don't have the references. The references are the future with Lamine Yamal, Pedri, and Gavi. Not a Lewandowski that is not the same player that was at Bayern Munich. Come on, you can't expect.
So we're gonna see the Marc Guéhi to Porto for 5 million euros in the coming months. You heard it here first. Taremi's gone. Marc Guéhi is in for 5 million euros. Porto with the business.
Anya Kende, Breton, the youngest goal scorer ever in Porto Bay history. Anya Kende, remember the name. And Rodrigo Mora, people. If you want a youth league player to watch Rodrigo Mora that already has 5 goals scored in the youth league. The future of Portugal, born in 2007.
Well, I'm going to say, based on your sports